Hello and welcome back to Cougar Creations. I'm Charlotte.
And I'm Jacob. Today we're going to be saying goodbye to a few more of our graduating seniors, Charlotte, Corbin, and Mimi.
Let's take a look at my time in radio TV.
Hello, I'm Kayla Michaelisco, and I'm here with Charlotte Phillipy, a 2025 graduate, a part of our program, and today we're going to be talking to her about some of her future plans and her time in this program. How are you doing today, Charlotte?
I'm good, Kaylee. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well, especially since I get to be talking to you.
Oh my God.
So you actually started taking radio TV your sophomore year. Mm-hmm. What made you want to join this class?
Honestly, I just had an empty slot in my schedule, and I couldn't figure out what to fill it with. I was gonna initially try to take journalism, but then I saw like radio TV and I was like, wonder what that is. So I just took it, and it was probably one of the best decisions I've ever made in high school.
Yeah, definitely. So what was your opinion of this class overall, and do you wish you had joined it sooner?
Oh, absolutely. I wish I'd done it my freshman year. My overall opinion is I think everyone should try to join. I know they're gonna hate me for saying that because they like smaller classes, but it's just helped me grow a lot, not only in career plans and time in college, but also just as a person, learning interview skills and how to work with a team. It's just an incredibly helpful class, and I would highly recommend everyone.
Yeah. So you were very involved in your high school career. You were a part of the show choir, you did comedy, so you're a captain of comedy sports, and a very avid member in theater, bouncing around from props to stage, meaning you have an abundance of memories. What is a memory you will always cherish and associate with your time in high school?
Oh my goodness, that's a good question. A lot of the first memories I think of are mostly from theater. I would say one of the most vivid memories I had was my freshman year. It was Tech Week for our fall show, Anybody for Tea, and everything was still new to me. Every day I was learning something new about the program. And I had just spoken to Coy about our video, like the video we make for every show, and I was like, oh my God, this is awesome. And I walked out onto the stage, and the sound booth was playing, it was a Disney Channel song. I forget what the song was, but Voight, our director at the time, and our tech director, Dennis Cole, they were dancing to it together. And I just thought to take a video, and I've had that video to this day, and it is just one of my favorite memories of, this is such a fun place to be. Like, even our directors are having fun, because usually when you think of directors or teachers, they're very, I'm here to work, I'm here to be professional, but it was just really sweet to see them interacting so freely and having so much fun. And I still have that video to this day. I very much treasure it.
I love that. What has been the biggest challenge you've faced in the past 4 years, and how did you overcome it?
I would say, as cheesy as this sounds, like so cliche for a theater kid, but my first time not getting cast, because I was lucky enough, I got a role in every show that I had tried out for. So the fall show Rumors, my junior year, that was the first show I hadn't been cast. And I wasn't too upset about actually not getting cast. I was just upset I felt like I was going to be missing out. And so I joined props. I didn't even think about not being part of the show, but I joined props, and I couldn't be more happy that I did, because being not only on stage, but then being in props has just further enhanced my knowledge of theater, and just my time in GC drama in general. It's so much fun, and it's so much fun to see such a different side of the show, and you're seeing the props crew for the first time and how hard they work and how much effort they put in. It was honestly a privilege to be part of that and be able to help build a show in another way.
Yeah. So what advice would you give to incoming freshmen who are taking radio TV or considering joining the class?
Yeah. First of all, don't fear Mr. Hudson. He's not scary. That's like a common theme among freshmen, is they're like, oh my gosh, who is that? He's not scary. But I would say just try in all your projects. They may seem, just like little class projects, but every single project, it's kind of like math. Like, this class builds on itself. So your first project is going to build into your next project, and it'll keep going until you get to a position where you're doing Cougar Creations or Let's Talk Sports. So just continue to try, continue to put in your best effort. Mr. Holtzclaw and Mr. Hudson will see your best effort. And it's honestly very fulfilling when you turn in a project and you're like, oh, I like that. And then you watch it in front of the class and you hear these great criticisms from other people. So just keep trying and don't fear Mr. Hudson.
Yeah, definitely. So what is the biggest thing you've learned from being a part of this program that you will take with you into adulthood?
Honestly, everything. Like I said earlier, teamwork, and surprisingly asking for help, asking questions. I'm very much the type of person, I'm just going to silently struggle with a homework assignment. I don't like to ask for help, but it's kind of hard when you're mid-editing something and you don't know how to do something. So it's honestly helped me learned to ask questions, and I feel so much better after asking questions. So as mundane or as little as that may be, that kind of a big thing that I got over in this class. So.
Yeah. So you've been all over this program. You've done interviews. You've planned episodes and been on the radio. What do you think has been your favorite project, and where do you think you strived the most?
Oh, my favorite project, I would say either the documentaries, just because I get to yap about things that I like, or the 30-minute show. That was the first time that I had worked with Final Cut. I was working with a great group, and the subject that we chose was really awesome, and so that was a really good way for me to kind of get a sense of what I was going to be doing in Cougar Creations. But I would definitely say I love radio the most. We don't get to do it as much as I would like, but that's kind of what makes it so much fun, is those few class periods where we do get to do it. And
yes.
I love picking the songs. I love sitting in there with you and Mimi and talking and picking fun news articles to read. So I'd say radio.
Yes, radio is definitely a treat.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to Ball State and studying media production with a minor in sports studies.
Mm-hmm.
What do you hope to accomplish with this degree?
Oh, honestly, a dream is to work in hockey in any aspect one day. If you know me, you know I'm a big hockey fan. So just working in any capacity, whether it be camera operating, kind of what I do at 9 or social media, anything like that. That's what anything in sports, honestly, but if we're getting specific, probably hockey.
So what solidified Ball State for you, and how did you know this was your career path?
Yeah, initially I wanted to go to college and do something like history or maybe English or something, just because I like to read and I like to read about history. But then I got into radio, TV, and I think by the time fall break rolled around, I was like, it's a no-brainer. Like, this is what I want to do, just because there's so much to do.
Yeah.
But Ball State specifically, if you knew me for the last 3 years, I was saying that Ball State was the last place I wanted to go, because a lot of people are like, oh, it's just Greenfield Part 2, it's high school all over again. But my entire friend group of like close friends graduated last year, and they all went to Ball State, and so I went up to visit them. And the more that I was on the campus and the more I was seeing them in their theater productions, the more I wanted to keep going back. And one day I applied as soon as I could, and I heard back, and opening my acceptance letter and realizing how excited I was kind of made me change my mindset and be like, oh, dang it, I think I really want to go here. And then I was in the midst of like picking a roommate and trying to figure that out. And my best friend called me and she said, I need a roommate next year. Do you want to room together? And I was like, okay, I have to go here. Like all the stars are aligning it, and it feels like the perfect place. And I'm so excited.
Good. The last thing we want to know is, do you have any parting words for underclassmen or maybe incoming seniors before you graduate?
I would say cherish every moment. It seems kind of cliche when people say, oh, time flies, but it really does. So starting my last week of high school is so crazy, and there's a small part of me that wants to go back and start over, but I'm so excited for the future. So just cherish every moment. Sometimes editing sucks, sometimes doing interviews sucks, but you're going to be in this position one day, and you're going to wish that you could do it again. And just be patient with your classmates, with Holtzclaw and Hudson. And just at the end of the day, just have fun. This is meant to be a fun program, so have fun.
Well, thank you so much for talking with us. Best of luck to you in the future.
Thank you, Kaylee.
And thank you so much for watching. Welcome back to Cougar Creations. I'm Kaylee, and today we're here with Mr. Hudson, our wonderful teacher, and we're going to be discussing Charlotte Phillipy, our 2025 graduate. How are you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well, thank you. So you met Charlotte when she was a sophomore. What was your first impression of her and her skills?
Charlotte was always very capable. Charlotte was sick a lot when she was a sophomore.
Yes, yeah.
So I don't know what was in the air that year, but she would be gone often. But when she was here, she contributed pretty good. She was in a class of all boys, so she was kind of quiet. But she did eventually come out of her shell.
Yes.
So I think the skills were there. Obviously, she's been in theater at that point. She had been around a lot of good theater people. So I had heard of her, to be honest with you, from Josie and Ashley Ellison and Lexi and others. You know, so they told me about her and that she would be good. So, but initially, we were happy to have her. It had been a goal of mine to have more girls in our program. It just, we were very boy heavy for a while, and I really wanted more girls, so I was just happy that she took the class.
Yeah. So what would you say is her biggest change from her first year to now as a graduate?
I would say now that she's more comfortable around like our group and me, I think she's just opened up a lot more and really let me see a side of her that I didn't see when she was a sophomore. I think now we have more of like a bickering relationship.
Yes.
And I think back then it was kind of like more of a traditional student-teacher relationship where I would do more instructing, but I didn't know her that well personally. But that just takes time.
Yeah.
Any kind of chemistry or relationship you have with your students forming, it takes time.
Yeah. So how would you describe Charlotte to a professional looking to seek her in her work?
Say that again, sorry.
How would you describe Charlotte to a professional looking to seek her in her work?
Yes. I would describe her as very outgoing, very friendly, very capable in about all areas of production. She's good on camera, obviously, we know that. I think the most underrated skill she has is she's good at writing and organizing. So I think she's very good at taking concepts, learning how to structure them. I think she's become a much better leader this year. I think she's taken more of a leadership role with a lot of our projects. So I would say she's very well-rounded. She's very well-rounded. I still think her best skill is probably on-air work, but that's not to diminish everything else that she can do.
Yeah. How did Charlotte contribute to the environment of the class?
Charlotte just makes it fun. That's one thing about Charlotte is she's just so much fun to have fun with.
Yes.
When you're a teacher, you certainly want to maintain like a professional environment, but you want kids to feel like they can be themselves around you. And one of the things that I strive to do in our environment is I want people to be themselves. I want us to work extremely hard, and we have standards and we have projects that we need to do well, but I don't want everybody all tensed up and nervous all the time. So I like that she just opens up. That's probably the biggest thing that I've noticed this year is as I've gotten to know her, we just bicker back and forth, but we're both very opinionated people.
Yeah. So what would you say Charlotte's strongest areas are and where she improved the most?
Strongest areas were always going to be on air because of theater. That's just kind of what you inherit when you're a radio TV teacher. You inherit kids that generally understand communication, basic communication skills. It's the technical skills that I think take the most time to develop. I think the thing that I noticed is like on the Women's Resource Center when she did some B-roll with that, her B-roll was noticeably better than I think she's ever done. So I think a lot of it is I've taught it to you guys, we've emphasized it, you've seen my projects, and I think she in particular has been very good at watching that and realizing how to get kind of different kinds of shots other than just our standard ones we always get. So I'd say that has been her biggest, improvement is her eye and the way that she sees things through the camera has drastically changed over her time here.
Yeah. So what is your biggest advice to Charlotte as she goes off to college and continues eventually into this field?
Well, she's going to Ball State. We know Ball State is great for this stuff. My education is from Ball State, as is Mr. Holtzclaw. We've had many students go to Ball State and have success. So it sounds simple, but she's just got to keep doing what she's doing. She needs to go up there and make a lot of friends, get involved in a lot of productions. Just start making movies for fun. Start doing things for fun, not because you have to, or because it's for a grade. You just have to get in the habit of you just have to love doing this stuff.
Yeah.
And that's the only way to get better at it. And it's just networking too, like we've talked about. And I shared that in my senior meeting, which I don't share everything, it's just for the seniors, because there's some personal stuff in there, but it's very important that they are go-getters. So don't wait for someone to ask you, hey, do you want to work on this project? It's like, no, just hop on it. Or better yet, you start your own.
Right. Yeah. So what do you hope is your lasting impact on Charlotte?
I want her to know and be confident in her abilities. I want her not to second guess herself. Like, you guys give me a hard time because I talk about how great I am. And I'm joking. I do have a lot of room for improvement, but I'm extremely confident. Because quite honestly, if I wasn't, I'm in no place to be teaching you guys this stuff, right? If I don't feel like I'm capable of my own abilities or feel like I believe we have the best radio TV program, then I shouldn't be doing what I'm doing. But I do feel that way, and I do feel confident. So I hope that she feels the same way, that as her skills get better as she gets older, because it takes years and years and years to become very good, just to continue to be confident and just jump in and do things. Yeah,
definitely. Well, thank you so much for talking with us, and thank you for watching.
Next, we're going to be taking a look at Corbin's senior interview.
Welcome back to Cougar Creations. I'm Jake here with Corbin Elliott doing his senior exit interview. How are you doing today, Corbin?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
I'm doing well. So starting off as a junior, you began your radio TV career. What influenced you to take this class?
Our good pal Caleb Curry. I had an extra slot open because I was dropping engineering, which was the worst class ever. Sorry, Mr. Kirchhoff. But yeah, worst class ever. So I dropped it, and I needed a filler class, and he told me to take this. And then fortunately enough, you and I ended up in the same class, so that was pretty cool.
And what did you think of the class starting out, and what made you decide to commit to the class?
Okay, this is going to sound really arrogant. Whenever we first started, like, you and I would do our stuff, and it was just way better than everybody else's. And then whenever we did documentaries for the first time, and I realized how good I was comparatively to everyone around me, I was like, okay, this is something I can do.
And what were some of your favorite projects in your 2 years in the program?
All the ones we did together were hilarious. I don't remember the silent film where I threw my iPad.
The short film?
I threw my iPad at you. All the documentaries we've done, I've done it on Max Verstappen versus Lewis Hamilton, and then the Pierre Gasly documentary, and then the Dolph Ziggler one that we just finished watching. I can't think of any other all the ones with Cougar Creations were fun, where we just go out and we try to make that 30-minute episode for the YouTube. Those are always fun. So, there hasn't been a bad project in here.
And you've also done a lot of work outside of school with commentating games and stuff like that. How do you think that's helped improve your skills in and out of class?
Oh gosh. Well, I don't talk very clearly anyways. I stutter a little bit every now and then. So whenever I'm doing that on air and stuff like that, it really just reminds me to keep my head focused and not stutter so much. So that's definitely helped me. And then also, doing those games and calling the games are just really fun.
And during your second semester this year, you switched from Cougar Creations to Let's Talk Sports. What has your experience been with the two, and how have they been different?
Oh, dude, they're so different. So Cougar Creations, the first semester, it was literally it was go, go, go all the time. We'd go out and film, we'd do our interview, we'd get the extra B-roll, we'd get man on the street, all this stuff, and then be editing, have these many days to get it, and then send it out to the YouTube. And, next week it was the same thing. So it was very go, go, go. In this class, it's very chill, just because we're really trying to hone in on certain skills, and we're trying to make everything very complete and perfect. So in two different aspects, but I've really enjoyed both so far.
And then learning under Mr. Hudson and Mr. Holtzclaw for 2 years, you've obviously developed a lot. What are some ways they've helped you develop your skills?
Oh, everything. Of course, I came in not really knowing what to do. I've edited, I've filmed stuff before, but nothing like this. They just helped me really hone in my skills using all the equipment we have. And Holtzclaw, biggest thing's been lighting, teach me how to do all these different things. We went over to Weston, and even on this trip where I'm considered an upperclassman and I should know how to use this stuff, he's still teaching me how to do all these different things while we're on this trip. So everything is what they've taught me.
And then since you're leaving us soon, what are your plans after high school?
I'm going to Michigan State University. Go green, go white. And I'm gonna be in digital storytelling and sports broadcasting. That's the technical term for it. So.
And I assume you're looking forward to next year.
Yeah, I'm ready to leave. Very ready. I'll miss a few people. You're not included, obviously. And yeah, it's gonna be hard. I think those first few weeks, just because I won't know anybody. But I'm excited.
And then lastly, kind of wrapping up, what is one piece of advice you would give to a new radio TV student?
Go all in. I feel like there's so many people, like I said, I've always been very outgoing, and if I'm going to put my time and effort into something, I'm going to make it good. And I feel like some people just kind of put in half the effort, and they don't fully commit to doing their projects. And so I'd say best piece of advice is if you're going to do something, you need to commit and go all in on what you're doing.
All right, well, thank you for talking to us today. Thank you for everything you've done through the program in the last 2 years, and thank you guys for watching.
Hi, I'm Nick. Welcome back to Cougar Creations. I'm here with Mr. Holtzclaw, asking him about Corbin Elliott's time with the program. So you met Corbin when he was a junior. What was your first impression of him and with the skills?
My first impression of Corbin, so being a junior in the program, I think you are usually a little bit more confident because you're usually around a bunch of freshmen and sophomores. So for him, it was definitely a little bit more confidence. I knew he had played golf just because of having Tyler Young in my class and hearing about that, and then just seeing things on different reports, match reports, whatever else. So I knew that he was a golfer too, and I always liked golf myself, so we kind of talked about that his first day in class. So I do remember talking about that with him. I didn't work with him much his first year in the program, but I do know that he definitely had like an air of confidence about him early on, and that's what kind of carried him throughout his time in radio and TV.
What would you say has been his biggest change from when you first met him to now?
His biggest change, I would just say that he's probably just become more comfortable being himself, in all honesty. So early on, I think there's a impression that needs to be made, trying to figure out both for us as teachers and as students, trying to figure out each other. So I think he was trying to figure out his way before really becoming his full, unique self, to say the least. So early on, he's definitely trying to figure things out in terms of the radio and TV field, doing things like that. And then he's trying to figure things out as himself, just being another junior out there. So I think he's definitely become more of who he is, and he really showed that a lot this year, whether that was in Cougar Creations early on or second semester with you guys in Let's Talk Sports, things like that.
So how would you describe Corbin to a professional looking to get him to work?
I would just say he's a professional. Corbin does a little bit of everything. He has been able to adapt himself to whatever the circumstances needed him to be, whether that was being behind the scenes and doing that kind of work, whether that was on camera, whether that was doing some of the camera work itself. But I mean, he is a leader and he is a professional in all senses of that. So he's able to do whatever is asked of him. If I told him to do a certain thing, he was able to do it. He definitely was one that took some leadership strides early on, and so he was able to use that to his advantage, I would say.
How would you say Corbin contributed to the environment of the class?
Yeah, I just think that he, like I said, was a bit of a leader kind of going on. I think early on in like Cougar Creations, being the senior and being around a bunch of people that arguably didn't really know each other too well as a whole, he kind of stepped into a leadership role by default, and they kind of looked for him to do certain things early on. So he was able to use that to his advantage and then kind of help set the tone for them. But he was willing to work with anyone and everyone, whether that was in Cougar Creations with all the people that he had to work with there, Haley, Josh, and Dakota, or whether I was with you guys in Let's Talk Sports, working with you with the promo, working with Jake for radio station or anything else like that, working with Jaden, as well as Barn Grover, any of those guys, whether that was hype videos, the podcasts, anything that we asked of him to do, he was able to do it and did well in all facets of it.
What would you say is his strongest areas, and where has he improved the most?
I would definitely say on-it camera work was probably his strongest, and I think he improved in that in all assets or in all facets as well, because of the fact that he did a lot of things with the radio station, WRGF, doing that kind of stuff, calling the games. He was able to learn more about being on camera and being able to talk in front of a mic in different ways. But I think early on, especially like his first doc, where you could see like how confident he was talking to the camera for stand-ups, things like that, it was good to see that, and I think he was able to improve in that way as well. Editing-wise, I think he didn't necessarily start out being the strongest editor, but I think he definitely found his way and was willing to do whatever is necessary that way, and he definitely knows his way around an editing station too. So I think he's improved in all areas, but I would definitely say his on-camera and talking in front of a mic has definitely been the one that he's improved the most and been probably his strongest asset as well.
What would you say would be your biggest piece of advice to him as he goes to college and continues in this field?
I would just say continue being himself, really. He's a likable guy, so being a likable guy is definitely one that's good to have no matter what. You're going to be doing a lot of group projects. You're going to be working with a lot of different people, no matter if that's in college, if that's post-college, whatever kind of comes your way, you're going to have to work with a lot of people. So being a likable guy is definitely a good thing that way, and continue to try and be a leader. Having those leadership qualities is good to have, and it's good to work around as long as you are able to, not overstep your boundaries and do that kind of work. But if you are a strong leader that people can look up to and that people can fall back on, it's going to help you and carry you a lot throughout life.
What do you hope is your lasting impact on Corbin?
My lasting impact on Corbin? I just hope he remembers a lot of things that we've been able to talk about throughout the time here, whether that was like any kind of advice I gave him for doing WRGF radio calls, whether that was some extra things that we talked about in terms of like framing shots, things like that. I hope he's able to remember those things, and when he comes back and talks to me after his first semester of college or after his first full year of college next year, he's able to just come back and say that a lot of the stuff stuck with him. I always like to kind of say cable wrapping is my lasting impact, because I mean, you remember doing that stuff your freshman year, trying to teach you guys the proper way to do it. So if you guys remember that especially, that looks good for me, and that's also another thing that's going to be big for you guys heading forward to. But in all reality, I just think he just needs to continue being himself, and he's going to be in good shape.
Okay, so that's all we have. Thank you for talking with me, and thank you for watching.
Now we'll be taking a look at Mimi's senior interview.
Hello and welcome back. I'm here with Mimi Tran, one of our 2025 graduates. How are you doing today, Mimi?
I'm doing good. How are you, Kaylee?
I'm doing pretty okay. So you started taking radio and TV your sophomore year. What made you want to join radio TV?
Well, in the beginning, I actually had no idea that radio TV even existed. And then my friend Charlotte came up to me and was like, I'm going to take this class and I really, really want you to take it with me, and I think it would be so fun. Could you please take it? And I was like, why not? Because at that point, it was my sophomore year and I'd already done all my hard classes for my freshman year. So I gave it a try because I like making things anyway. So
yeah. So what was your opinion of this class overall, and do you wish you had joined it sooner?
Oh, yeah, of course I do. Because when I think back to it and he mentions having kids all their 4 years of high school, I wish that was me. And my overall opinion of this class is it's a great environment. You get to do so much that other classes wouldn't give you, and I think it's just a great learning experience for everybody.
Yeah. So you've been pretty involved throughout your high school career. You have been in the theater program, you're prop head in our theater program, and you are also very involved in the art program. I'm sure you've made lots of memories in these. What is a memory you will cherish and always associate with high school?
I think one of the memories I'll cherish the most is when I first joined Cougar Creations and we had that meet-up table where everybody was together and we just talked. Because most of my classes, even though some teachers don't start class right away, we never just sit down in a group and have conversations. And I think being able to sit in a small-knit group and have such fun or life-learning conversations was really something that helped me through my senior year.
Yes. So you have, what has been the biggest challenge that you faced in the past 4 years, and how did you overcome it?
My biggest challenge was probably, getting up and trying to grab opportunities for myself, because I'm mostly an introverted person. I don't go out of my way to, do things. So growing up, you have to be able to go out and grab your own opportunities, and that's been a challenge for me because I don't like reaching out in the first place. But I've learned that in order to succeed, you have to, push beyond your boundaries. And I've just been taking it step by step, reaching out more, trying to push myself out there and that kind of stuff.
What advice would you give to incoming freshmen who want to take radio, TV, or consider joining the class?
To just do it. I mean, it might be a new thing, it might not be a new thing, but it's a new area. And my advice is just don't be scared, try everything, do everything. When I first joined in Holt's Close, you're going to have to be on camera and do stuff whether you like it or not. I was like, oh no. But then the more you do it, the more you get used to it and the more skills you're able to learn. So put yourself out there and learn new things.
Yeah. So what is the biggest thing you've learned from being a part of this program that you will take into adulthood?
Probably working with other people. In this class, I've worked with people I would have never, given the time of day if I wasn't in the class. I've met so many new people, whether they be students, younger kids, or even adults. And you learn to relationship build. Networking is a big thing in this class, and I think that's a good skill to take with you.
Yeah. So you've been all over the place in this program. You have edited several episodes of Cougar Creations. You've done so many interviews, and you've even been on the radio. What has been your favorite project or area to be a part of?
I really like scripting or coming up with ideas for fun little skits or videos. One of my favorite projects was the documentary, because I get to script everything. I get to choose what clips I want to do. But another one of my favorite projects was the black and white film.
Really?
Yeah, it was really a throwback. It was a group of me, Charlotte, and Brady, and I think the process of coming up with the idea was so fun, and then acting it out and then just going through the whole editing process with a little team, it was just so much fun.
Yeah. You're going to Ball State and you're studying media production. What do you hope to accomplish with this degree?
I just want to be able to go into an environment where I'm able to create things, because that was the reason why I joined this class in the first place. And after, my sophomore year of being in here and being able to create so much and use my ideas, I wanted to be able to do that on a bigger scale. So at the end of the day, I just want to be able to create things that, move me, move other people, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So what solidified Ball State for you, and how did you know this was your correct career path?
Well, when looking for colleges, I just wanted to find something that was, easy commute and that kind of stuff, so I could see my parents. And then I heard a bunch of my friends were going to be at Ball State anyway, and then a bunch of customers from my dad's nail shop come in and they're like, oh, this is a great place for media and that kind of stuff. And, Mr. Holtzclaw, Mr. Hudson went there too, and I was like, well, if I'm going to pursue media, I might as well follow, the people I know who are good at media and where they went.
Yeah, definitely. So the last thing we want to know is, do you have any parting words for underclassmen or incoming seniors before you graduate?
Take your time. When I was in my freshman, sophomore year, I was like, and people were telling me, oh, high school's going to fly by so fast. I was like, that's just not true. But then, freshman year it was slow, sophomore year it picked up, and it just kept picking up. And you just have to cherish the people around you and the time you have with them, because at the moment you think, oh, I'm going to see these people forever, but then you graduate and you go to college and you're like, well, I'm not going to see these people as often, or I'm not going to be able to do these kinds of things anymore. Stuff that was so normal to me, so dear to me, I can't really just do whenever I want anymore. For example, I won't see you every day like I always do. And I had to learn to you have to realize you have to treasure everything, whether it seems small or not, because it really is the small things in life that, mean a lot to you at the end of the day.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for talking with us today. We wish you the best of luck at college.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching. Welcome back to Cougar Creations. I'm Kaylee, and I'm here with Mr. Hudson, and we're going to be discussing our 2025 graduate, Mimi Tran. How are you doing today?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well, thank you. So you met Mimi when she was a sophomore. What was your first impression of her and her skills?
Very quiet, very capable, but just very friendly, extremely friendly. She sat in the back, and she was so quiet that sometimes you would forget she was there. But like any new kid that comes into radio TV, it's a different environment. And Holtzclaw and I are very different people. And I think from the very beginning, it's not that we try to scare people, but we just say, hey, it's going to be a class where you're going to have to work. So I think she was willing to do that. But I think like most kids on the first couple of days, she's just kind of quiet. But then she got to know her class really well. And she worked in different groups, and you saw her start to open up. And that didn't take as long as you would think. It was within a few weeks.
Yeah. So what is her base change from when you first met her to now as a graduate?
Well, I know her better. Yeah. I think that's the big thing, is I've really gotten to know her. It's just great. I mean, Mimi is, it's hard to explain. I can't put my finger on why I like Mimi so much, but I just love Mimi. I think she has a very calming presence, and you're friends with her, so I think you know what I'm getting at.
Yes.
But she's just a person that you feel like when you're around her, there's just good luck. She's like a good luck charm.
Yeah.
So that's how I feel about Mimi. She's very pleasant. She's very respectful. She's very kind. If anything, the biggest change is she just speaks a little bit more now. But I think her personality has actually always kind of been there.
How would you describe Mimi to a professional looking to seek her and her work?
Mimi is just a great teammate. That's what I appreciate about her. I've asked a lot of her this year, just even helping me with random things, and she's always just has a smile and is like, yeah, let's do it. Yeah. She was in a different class today, and within that class, Mrs. Kaish, we were doing interviews, and I was like, hey, I just need some help, and she ran, she helped me with it. So, just a great teammate, just a great person to have on your team.
Yeah. How did Mimi contribute to the environment of this class?
She's kind of the yin to the yang of Charlotte.
Yeah.
Charlotte's more outgoing and brash like me, but you need people that are just kind of reserved and the voice of reason.
Yes.
And I think Mimi is oftentimes the voice of reason, because even I sometimes can be not the voice of reason and unreasonable myself.
Yeah.
So I think she's kind of the voice of reason. She has a great voice for voiceovers as well. We can't overlook that. So just her voice talent, her on-air ability, The way that she interviews is a little more formal, but it's very smooth. And I think so it's nice having a range of you, Charlotte, Mimi, depending on the type of interview that we need, each of you guys sort of, fill a different role for the vibe of the interview.
Yeah. So what would you say Mimi's strongest areas are and where she improved the most?
Mimi's always been very bright. She's very smart. She is very intelligent. Mimi crafts ideas. Once again, underrated writer. Very good at writing. She's very good at voiceovers. I think her editing skills have grown immensely. I'd say if anything, she's just gotten better at interviews. I think she was really nervous. I remember she brought in her mom, and she was really nervous that her mom didn't speak much English. And I said, one of the things that I love and want to embrace more is diversity in our program. So I said, Mimi, you bring in your mom, and if you're able to do some subtitles, or we'll figure it out, but if that's who you're comfortable talking with, then you bring her in. And don't worry about the language barrier. You can do it in Korean. So I think there was once we did that, there was some trust factor between her and then me and Holtzclaw, because she saw that we were going to accept who she was and her culture and her background, and that's very much what I want in radio TV.
Yeah. So what is your biggest advice to Mimi as she goes off to college and then later into this field?
I would say just being more outgoing. I think she's great at it now, but I think in new environments it's tough to warm up. So similar to what I would say to Charlotte and other seniors, be confident in your abilities, be friendly, be outgoing, just continue to be yourself, and like I said, she's just a great person to have around.
Yes.
She really, really is.
Definitely. What do you hope is your lasting impact on Mimi?
Oh boy, I don't know. I gotta think about that one for a second. I would say just me being a minority and her being a minority at a school that is mostly white, I would want her just to always be confident in who she is no matter where she goes, and be proud of her heritage. Yeah. I will say that. Like, I'm proud to be an African American. I'm proud to have an impact on kids that aren't black. It doesn't matter to me. All my kids are special, and I want her to view life in that same lens. It's like, you're a minority, but you have a place in this world, and people will accept you for who you are.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for talking with us.
You're welcome.
And thank you for watching.
Welcome back to Cougar Creations. Thank you to all of our seniors for everything they've done for the program.
And thank you for watching.
Have a Cougar-tastic day.
Want to learn more? Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and make sure to subscribe and smash that like button on YouTube for future videos.